Hello guys, how are you doing? Welcome to Mr. Marashanye online lessons. If you are new on this channel, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and also I want to see your comments so that I can keep on uploading exactly what you are looking for. As for today guys, we are going to talk about the origin of the great Zimbabwe, which means the genesis of the great Zimbabwe, the beginning of the great Zimbabwe, kureva mavambo a great Zimbabwe. So, if we want to understand the origin of Great Zimbabwe, we must study two important theories that actually tries to explain the origin of Great Zimbabwe, or how the Great Zimbabwe came into existence. And those two theories are the Eurocentric theory and the Afrocentric theory. And in on this level, I'm going to refer to them as the European theory and the African theory. Okay, so in this statement, they are saying the origin, the beginning, the genesis of the great Zimbabwe state is controversial, is debatable, is unclear. Why the origin of great Zimbabwe state is unclear, is controversial, is debatable? The reason is simple. There are two theories that explains the origins of Great Zimbabwe in a different way. That's why we are saying its origin, its beginning, its genesis is unclear, is controversial, it is debatable. Only because we have two theories explaining the origin of the same state called the Great Zimbabwe state, but they are explaining its origin differently. Okay, let us now talk in detail about these two theories that actually explains the genesis or the origins of the great Zimbabwe state. Okay, so we are going to start looking at what we call the European theory. One school argued that the great Zimbabwe was built by foreigners. And this school of thought is also the Eurocentric view, muono wema-Europeans towards the origin of great Zimbabwe state. Vaimboti kudii varungu, vaimboti kudii maforeigners when it comes to the origin of great Zimbabwe state. So we are going to talk according to what they were saying. And at the end of this lesson, I want you to tell me in the comment section, what do you think about the origin of great Zimbabwe? Which theory hold water when it comes to the explanation of the origin of the great Zimbabwe state? So according to this theory, well known as the European theory, they are saying Great Zimbabwe was built by more civilized races than Africans. So when they are using the word civilized, it means educated races, it means refined races, it means well polished races than Africans. So by saying the great Zimbabwe state was built by more civilized races, in other words, they are saying the Africans during that time, they were not that civilized to the extent that they can construct something or anything of historical importance. And by doing so, they are actually undermining undermining the ability of the Africans to actually construct something nice like the great Zimbabwe state, which caused me to actually dismiss this as a valid point, because the Africans, they also have the technological ability or the technological capability to actually construct or build something beautiful like that of Great Zimbabwe, even during the late Stone Age period, or even during the period where the Great Zimbabwe state came into existence. But anyway, don't mind my argument. I am saying, according to European theory, they were saying the Great Zimbabwe was built by more civilized races than Africans, and that more civilized races, they are referring to what he called the Jews, to the Arabs, to the Phoenicians, or even the Japanese. Saka in other words, vaiti aiwa Great Zimbabwe haina kutombovakwa nema Africans, inogona kunge yakavakwa nema Arabs. It was built by the Arabs, or it was built by the Phoenicians, or it was built by the Jews, or it was built by the Japanese. Some also argue that there is a Jewish influence on the origin of the Great Zimbabwe. That was their argument, but their argument, it doesn't hold water, because their main reason kuti ma-Africans, they cannot build anything of historical importance. Ma-Africans, they lacked the technological capability to actually build such beautiful structure like that of Great Zimbabwe. Okay, let us talk about another theory, well known as the African theory, or the Afrocentric theory. Okay, so the other theory, which is theory B, which is the African theory, the other theory, it argues, it pointed to the view that the Great Zimbabwe was built by Africans. The Great Zimbabwe was built by Africans, and according to this theory, the Great Zimbabwe was local in origin, which is enough evidence to show that it was built not by the Arabs, not by the Jews, not by the Phoenicians, not by the Japanese, but it was built by the local people. It was built by the local people. So the Africans, they were saying, because the Great Zimbabwe, it is found here in Zimbabwe, it is local in origin. It's a clear evidence that the Great Zimbabwe, although we are not sure which particular group built the Great Zimbabwe state, tinoziva kuti yakavakwa the Shona speaking people, because inowanika muZimbabwe. If it was supposed to, if it was constructed by the Arabs, it was supposed to be constructed in Arab. If it was constructed by any race which is not the Africans, it was supposed to be constructed in their own country or in their own continent. Okay, so this theory, it also argues that the Great Zimbabwe was built by the indigenous Shona speaking people between 1100 AD and 1450 AD. And according again to this theory, the artifacts found at the Great Zimbabwe, it indicated Shona traditional culture, which is enough evidence yekuti yakavakwa the Shona speaking people. And also the African origin theory, it dismisses the foreign origin theory, and it argues that the state is of African origin. And this theory, the African theory, yakadevelopa nema-historians maviri aiti iwo R. Summers and Peter Gallick, P. Gallick. So in other words, I'm saying the African theory, it was developed by archaeological historians well known as Ara Summers and Peter Galeki. They argued that the Great Zimbabwe was built by the Shona speaking people, because we have other Zimbabwe dotted around the country. For example, the Kami and Hlogo, which reflect actually the local style and the culture. Are you following this? Okay, so these are the two theories explaining the origin of the great Zimbabwe state. Which one do you believe? You see, we got to know that the European theory and the African theory. The European theory could know the great Zimbabwe was built by non-Africans. But the African theory iri kusuggesta reasons ayo kuti no, the great Zimbabwe was built by the Africans. But you can actually see that the arguments of the European yaingova yekuti the Shona or the African, during the time where Great Zimbabwe was built, the Africans, they lacked the technological capability to actually construct something beautiful like the Great Zimbabwe state. And also they view the Shona, or they pointed to the view that the Shona during that time they were backward. The Shona during that time they were barbaric. Therefore, havangavi ivo vakabuilda the great Zimbabwe state. Okay? So, my lecturer, Mr. Mugabe, he once told me that according to him, Mr. Mugabe, according to him, he pointed to the view that, according to me, I can say because of the debate or because of the controversy that is there around the origin or the genesis of the Great Zimbabwe, I can say that the Great Zimbabwe is just a natural phenomena, just like Ruvuli Mountain. You know, in Mashingo there is a mountain called Ruvuli, which is something which is a mountain that is not artificial, that is not made. It's something created maybe by God. That was his argument because of the controversy that is around the great Zimbabwe. I didn't say go and say according to Mr. Mugabe. I'm just telling you what my lecturer once told me about the great Zimbabwe, which actually to me makes a sense, because according to the European theory, they also have their own reasons. And according to the African theory, they also have their reasons. So he just concluded by saying, I thought it just, let me just say, it's just a natural phenomena, just like a Ruvuli Mountain. If you want to go and see Ruvuli Mountain, you can actually contact me on the number shown on the screen, so that you can go and see Ruvuli Mountain, which was being referred to as a natural phenomena. Okay, so guys, tell me what you think about the origin of the great Zimbabwe state in the comment section. Tell me what you think about the origin of the great Zimbabwe. What do you think is the correct actually definition, or the correct explanation, or the correct theory, or the theory that is reliable when it comes to the origin of the great Zimbabwe? Thank you so much for tuning in. Meet you in the next one. With this one, we are out for now.